Lenders at last direct commercial banks to accept and pay out old 500 and 1,000 naira notes. As President Buhari says, Apex Bank need no directive from him to comply with Supreme Court order. And later on the show, presidency rates February 25 presidential election as the best in Nigeria's recent history, says only losers are disputing outcome of the poll, as PDP and Labour insists that the election was rigged in favor of APC. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. It is said that an individual or organization cannot be greater than a country. We are seeing manifestation of that in Nigeria. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, has finally surrendered regarding its ill-fated Naira redesign policy. At last, the CBN has directed commercial banks and other financial institutions in the country to continue to accept and pay out old 500 and 1,000 naira notes till 31st of December 2023, in line with the judgment of the Supreme Court. In a statement signed by the Acting Director of Corporate Communications at the Apex Bank, Issa Abdul Mumin, the CBN disclosed that it met with Bankers Committee and directed that old bank notes remain legal tender alongside the redesigned notes. Meanwhile, the presidency said the CBN did not need a further directive from President Muhammadu Buhari to comply with the Supreme Court order. On this program, we have consistently questioned the implementation of the policy and stressed the need for authorities concerned to obey the order of the Apex Court. Let's share some of the episodes with you.
Because you are CBN governor, you are now playing God. You are playing God. You are showing an arrogance that does not match your success in office.
At all.
I mean, what are we talking about?
Something.
I see so much arrogance from a governor of a central bank. You want to blame your own failure on certain other things. This is inexplicable, and I think the National Assembly should call the CBN governor to order now, because there will be chaos as from 31st of December.
Now, it's not as if we are criticizing this idea or policy, but given the time frame is the problem.
That is the thing. It is not my, you see, he can come up with what kinds of policies. What is it called? Cashless policy, this and that. It doesn't really bother me. But it bothers me when pain will be inflicted on the ordinary Nigerian. I travel a lot across our country. I feel the pain of the ordinary Nigerian. I know what the ordinary Nigerian is going through. It will go down in history as the longest serving CBN governor. It's been, why is he just doing it now? Why didn't it occur to him to have done this before now? And if you must do it, you've got to give enough time frame. The Supreme Court is the last hope of the common man. And we have been saying repeatedly here that it is the common man that is bearing the brunt of this policy. No one is saying the policy is bad or that it shouldn't have been instituted, but everything is wrong about the implementation, about the time scale. For me, it is the time scale that is the biggest problem. If the CBN governor were not someone who appears to be happy at the suffering of people, he should not have come up with this kind of unrealistic timescale. Because in other parts of the world, they are going to give them like 1 year. During this period, the old notes come into the banking system and stays there. I'm saying that if we are a country where there is transparency, the CBN governor should be briefing Nigerians every week to say, this is how much we have printed. This put in the bank vaults for them to distribute. He knows in his heart of hearts that they do not even have enough to distribute to Nigerians.
Those of us who are in the South, who stay primarily in the South, we don't know that the kind of problem that is going on up north is worse than what is happening here. And that's why when some governors came out and started saying they have banks only in the capital. One state governor said he has only 2 bank branches in his capital. So how do the others who are not banked at all?
You see journalists even advocating for this policy. You go on social media and they will say, on the 10th of February, we'll stand. Whose interests? Journalists.
And they can see people suffering.
And people are, you say, no,
are those ones
I stand with Emefiele, I stand with Mr. President on this. And you see what people are going through.
It is not monk. It's not everybody who has Bia that is an alpha. Stop kidding yourself by saying you stand by Emefiele. Why are you even standing by Emefiele? Emefiele is the most incompetent CBN governor in Nigerian history, and I have the facts. Tell me any policy that Emefiele instituted that is a success today. Not even the anchor borrowers. What is it that he has done that you can say he has acquitted himself competently? No. The CBN currently is a very incompetent government agency. Very incompetent. The Supreme Court has the final say in legal matters. The Supreme Court has said, stay action, CBN, stay action. The actions of the pronouncement of the Supreme Court. You said some people are holding. It's not our business. Our business is to see you fix the problem. If you can't fix the problem, you have failed. Now the Supreme Court has to look at the totality of this problem and take a decision that serves the interest of the generality of the Nigerian people, not the elites. It should be the interest of the Nigerian people that the apex court of our land will consider.
The Supreme Court has delivered the judgment. Where do we go from here, do you think?
Where else do we go? we keep spending our money. You know, we all complain about this then, but it appears some people felt, but we wanted to do everything in 3 months. In this country, this is not the first time that we are changing. You know, there are reasons why you change your agency, either for economic reform or whatever. I was looking for the exact reason for this. I could not get this, except that it was politically motivated, and you put the entire nation in this kind of because of who? Because of a man? But now,
all of these things was avoidable.
Thoroughly avoidable. It was an act of callousness on the hapless masses. And people must behave
needlessly,
bearing in mind that they will account for their actions. I'm happy the Supreme Court did the right thing. Mr. President should have consulted widely. He didn't. So Emefiele was behaving like, look, he could do whatever he liked because he had the president behind him.
Yeah.
Will the president be in power forever? The president will leave one day and you will be made to account for your actions.
All right.
So I hope that the Supreme Court clearly has now underlined the fact that no president is above the law, no president is an emperor, no president can take actions that he thinks that he deems fit. This CBN governor has shown too much disdain, so much disrespect to Nigerians. This is a fact. What stops him from coming out to say, yes, I had a meeting with the bankers committee, and this is our resolution. You know, I've been saying it that normally, given the crisis that we are going through, it should even be addressing us on a daily basis until we solve the problem. And the IMF, at the time we gave for this thing, but Emefiele prefer to listen to opportunists.
The national newspaper had this headline this morning, and Emefiele has given a rebuttal 2 hours of immediately.
Yes, but he cannot respond to a Supreme Court judgment.
Over a week ago.
This one is a direct affront. That one, maybe he has people who he thinks he must listen to, who must now direct him to obey the law. Because somebody must be telling him, don't worry, nothing will happen. Because if he can react so fast, that means also aware.
For Nigerians to be able to hold the banks accountable, all you needed to do was tell us that this is what you have agreed. The Buhari that I know, but what I'm saying is that by reputation, the president never loved to see people suffer. But this time around, what he has done, he even admitted that this thing has inflicted pain.
On Nigeria.
Yet he is having it continue. To the point that even the Supreme Court will give an order and you go against it. We are dealing with a CBN that had not planned well before coming up with this shitty policy. Now, you are thinking that, oh, once the elections are over, this whole problem. Don't be too sure. Did they print enough? The answer is no. They don't print enough. They didn't print enough. Look at the implementation of the policy. It's been implementation in a terrible manner. Everybody can see it.
It's just a circular. If you don't have to show your face. Nigerians are not interested in seeing your face. You are ashamed. Just a signed circular.
Yes, we are law abiding. After the Supreme Court judgment, this is our decision. That's all.
Even if you are ashamed, if you can't pose like this, like you're posing with the president, if you can't smile like this.
Posing that
yes,
time.
But that it has not been served breakfast.
You call yourself a trained journalist. You can see people dying on the street. You can see people standing on the queue and collapsing and dying. You had no shame to say that you stand by a man who has inflicted that pain on people. I mean, some.
Today I would say congratulations to us.
Yes.
We stood against tyranny.
Yes.
We stood against bad policy.
Yes.
We stood against something that will impoverish our people.
Yes.
And for several weeks, several days,
they called
back
us
to
names.
back, they called us names. But today, we'll be vindicated.
We stood by our people. The most important thing to do is to stand by the people at all times. If we can't stand by our people and we can watch our people suffer and take no action, what is the job of the journalist? The journalist who cannot cause change, positive change to happen in society, is a disgrace. Not just to his family, but to his so-called calling. So journalists who cannot see what is wrong and talk about it and ask that what is wrong should be remedied or corrected, you have no moral standing in the society. You have no right to call yourself a journalist. You are just a bed of passage. That means you crashed into the profession. And of course, in our profession these days, there are many people who naturally should have been artisans, some should have been policemen, some should have been vulcanizers, but today they are journalists because somehow they found themselves in the profession. That is the disgrace that they bring to the rest of us. How do you sit down in a studio and stand by a man whose policies have inflicted pains on our people, and you still have the cheek to be going around like a King Kong? You watch people die, and you can't open your mouth and speak. What kind of a person are you? I was telling a friend of mine, I said, Idana sen akan gaskiya nake, billahi lazi la lawa. Bezan kama kunya ba. I will not suffer any shame if I know that I'm on the side of the truth. Even if you will kill me, I will still stand on the truth. This is not the nature that I acquired in one day. No, I've always been like this. Even if the whole world turns against me, if I know that it is the truth, I will stand on it. But our country has become something else.
Even media
journalists who should be the conscience of the nation. They are the ones standing with Emefiele. Statistically, the most incompetent CBN governor in Nigeria history.
Ever.
You are standing by him. When you stand by him, you stand by incompetence, because even you can't prove your own competence. You are a never-do-well in our profession. You are a bed of passage in our profession.
Mujid, this is even the most politicized CBN I've ever seen in my life. CBN giving, you know, aid to civil society organizations to come out, carry placards, to protest. CBN aiding media houses, paying their salaries through back doors.
Paying
We know the
TV
media
stations
houses
for life.
We made it, honestly, for life.
Civil society
5 million,
paying
10 million,
TV station
7 million
to do live,
for 1 hour.
for
Civil society,
in support of
absolute bunkum.
Some market woman in Ekiti. No, the video game went well. They say they make a day, or they gave him all sorts of names. And beyond that, I think I congratulate myself and others there. We have been saying this thing from day one, that this is a policy that cannot work. I mean, we are all seeing it. It stands logic upside down. See, Dr. Ayoteriba was on TVC about a month ago, and he said what he expected the CBN to do, I mean, in the same climb, is to either print 5,000 notes, since you know that, I mean, we have a 5,000 notes, since you know that the capacity of your mint is 900 billion for 12 months. Yes.
Of our mint?
Of the mint of Nigeria. The capacity is 900 billion for a whole year. And the mint was only able to print about 400 billion. These are facts. Let them contribute.
That's why we have shortage.
This is another. When the mint was even saddled with printing of sensitive materials. So it's like a double jeopardy. They were struggling, and they kept telling us lies that they have enough. You mopped up 3.7 trillion from the system, and you released just less than 500 billion. Who does that? And people were dying. People were serious. We're suffering.
You know what shocked me?
And he was saying that
when I saw impotent arrogance was when Emefiele started by saying, I have no good news to tell Nigerians.
Even after a Supreme Court judgment.
People are going through pain, and you are saying that you are sorry you have no good news. Who are you?
I don't care.
Who are you? No.
Now,
when you are just giving effects to it now.
No. Because the presidency eventually
under the bus.
Under the trailer. I mean under the train.
The Lagos train.
That Lagos train. Well, if it's under the bus, I mean you can still see the speed with which that statement came out 9:40 p.m. yesterday. 9:40 p.m.
Within minutes of the president's under the bus.
Everybody said, well, the guy is on his own. And you know that by May 29, there will be a new kid on the block who will not take this kind of nonsense.
And with all the problems that he's having with DSS, those ones have not taken their eyes off him.
He has not declared.
It was away for almost 2 months.
Hopping from one country to another.
Saying that he was ill.
From the Americans to the Caribbean
going on a rant.
No military will give him the protection.
You have what?
One car that is going around with him. Nobody come make 29. Nobody will approve those armored tanks.
The banks, all the banks in Nigeria have virtually shut down. You make a transfer.
It's as if a country in crisis. It's as if we've just finished.
As if we are in war.
I'm telling you,
the infrastructure of the best bank in Nigeria, in terms of technology, is programmed to handle probably 200,000 transactions per particular period. But when you have a surge, that's why
never envisaged this.
At times, these things suddenly increase to about 1 million. Now, you do a transfer on a Friday, they will debit you on Friday.
It will hang.
God help you if you get the alert on Tuesday.
Okay, I have Linus calling us from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Linus. Yes, go ahead, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I want to thank you people, Jide, and the rest of you there.
Thank you.
you have done a very good job.
Thank you,
By
sir.
fighting to protect the people. You have done marvelously well. The only thing I'm talking about now is those journalists that supported the government, that were speaking grammar like as if they are from
outer
as
space.
if they are English people.
Don't mind
Where
them.
are they now? They have
They
nothing
should be
else
ashamed of
to
themselves
discuss
if they have
right
shame.
now. They don't have anything to talk about now. They are even avoiding this very discussion about this Naira now.
Oh, you
Because
noticed?
I
Oh,
want
I thought.
You know them.
You know them.
anything about it.
You know them and their TV stations.
They should all be ashamed of themselves. They supported our government.
That is if they
just
have
because
shame and they have
felt that
conscience.
they were going to benefit from that thing, and somehow that was their reason. But today, they are ashamed of themselves. Always watch them in the morning. They can't talk about this Naira matter anymore because they know that they have good. I'm very grateful.
Thank you, Linus. Thank you.
Thank you.
Some of the proprietors, they are consultant to CBN.
Mercantilists.
Do you understand? So proprietors'
Mercantilists
interests.
have taken over our
interest,
profession.
ownership interests.
When he saw that headline, banner headline in the Nation yesterday morning, I mean, and most online papers also started picking it. I mean, governor, you will be immune to the hardships being faced by people.
Honestly, just because in your heart you are after an individual.
An individual. And this person has defeated you guys.
If you understand politics, that individual could not have been defeated in the election. Because even when we sat down, we were doing
the mathematics.
Yes, we looked at it. We did 29 states.
Yeah.
And after 29 states, the lead was unassailable. We told them
against all odds.
The same way they did
okay,
polls.
It now even became something that earns sympathy for the individual.
Yeah. In fact,
must the whole country suffer just to get at an individual? What kind of logic is that?
And after
you can watch people dying.
After I defeated all of you, we would have prevailed, and you will rescind that decision.
Huh?
But still,
no, they were still looking for the governorship election. They want to deal
with him in Lagos.
What's going on? What kind of country is this? Why should we allow innocent people to suffer? The vulnerable.
And for
IMF warned us. World Bank warned us.
And for a CBN governor who is very partisan, who has shown that he's also interested.
Somebody wanted to be president. How do you define partisanship?
He went to court.
100 million naira form. He went to court in Delta to compel nobody should stop him.
INEC not to stop him from contesting.
Supposedly bought by
why being CBN governor at the same time?
From the failed Anchor program.
78%
if he has any shame left, I expect him to tender his resignation letter.
If he has honor, as tiny as the mustard seed, he should resign. What is it?
Okay, I have another caller.
Honor, should resign.
Mahmoud, thank you for joining us, Mahmoud.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Mahmoud.
Yeah, I want to congratulate all of you in that studio.
Thank you.
You have rescued Nigerians, and the CBN governor should be ashamed of himself today. People have died because of the bad policy. And he doesn't even feel anything at all. Today Nigerians have, in fact, have come to realize that we don't have a governor as the CBN. The man should just retire and only to resign. I thank all of you for the good job you are doing, especially my good friend Jamiu and Jide. God bless all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mahmoud. Yeah. So,
you see,
Majid, you know, in all of this, is the truth. We can't blame Emefiele alone. There was someone who gave the instruction permitted by law to give that kind of directive. Even the Supreme Court, in arguing that it did not, that the CBN governor did not, the CBN did not have to be joined, placed the blame squarely at the door of the president. Emefiele is just the special purpose vehicle for the suffering inflicted on our people. It was Mr. President that has to take the larger share of the blame. If we are blaming Emefiele alone, people will see us as hypocrites. Because even when Supreme Court gave the ruling, it's Mr. President who came out to try to vary it by saying, okay, 200, I'm allowing 200. So, Emefiele singularly. So, it's not everything that we are blaming him for that he can take the entire blame. Even if he was the one who advised the president to do it, or some other selfish individuals joined him to advise the president to do it, for reasons best known to them. Mr. President, having seen that people were suffering, should have taken the decision to say enough.
Was misadvised.
Yes, I was misadvised. I can't allow this suffering to continue anymore. So Mr. President is as liable. Is as liable as Emefiele, if not more liable, in the sufferings inflicted on our people. We led to their pace.
Eroding all the achievements of this administration.
All the glory.
It might not finish on a high.
No, it's not. It is evident.
It's finishing on a low. And
I don't know how, having done all that, you will now want to finish badly as a president.
The statement by Gaba yesterday was neither here nor there, trying to push the blame on Emefiele, who, of course, I mean, is not the fall guy.
All right, we'll quickly take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. Please don't go away. It's still Journalist Hangout.
What you are seeing here now is the United Nations building. When we came on board, we realized that there was a commitment by the previous administration to complete this building, to renovate it and to bring it back to how it was before. But that was a commitment that nobody was willing to honor. We met Mr. President and told him that there was a commitment that Nigeria made to the United Nations family to complete this building. And then he provided the needed funds. We worked with the contractor, restored the building, completed it to what it is today. And I can tell you, the leadership of the United Nations personally told me that out of New York, the UN does not have any other building that can match the one that we have.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
For a meaningful life, basic amenities and infrastructure must be in place. These are quality education, improved healthcare service delivery, security of lives and property, food security, potable water, affordable housing, and more. This is the covenant Honorable Mohammed Umaru Bago has with the good people of Niger State as the incoming governor. Bago, as a banker of repute and a federal legislator, is determined to turn Niger State to a sustainable economy driven by massive agricultural development and rural-urban linkages. Another high point of his program is urban renewal with the state-of-the-art infrastructure development. So, let's vote in this great man of many parts, Bago, as the governor of Niger State on Saturday, March 11, 2023. This message is sponsored by Dr. Friends of Bago.
Thank you for staying with us. Jide, we are going to be looking at the lessons from this. I think the 10th National Assembly should have the responsibility of tinkering with that CBN autonomy.
Look at it again.
We never envisage this
maybe
situation.
there are times when you have to, when a law or a piece of legislation is a little ambiguous, it leaves room for abuse. But I'm happy for one thing that the Supreme Court decided. You have responsibility on monetary matters, just like some of those funny lawyers were quoting, as if CBN, nobody can talk to the CBN on
above the law
because they have
defend his
autonomy.
budget.
Which autonomy? When people are dying.
Now the law says that you must give sufficient time. The Supreme Court ruled that you didn't give sufficient time.
Yeah.
In other climes, they give a whole year or
Yeah.
even 2 years. And during that time, the currencies will be circulating side by
Side by side.
But once the old one enters into the banking system, it never comes back.
They replace it
They
with new
told
one.
him, all the people, I've read some comments by even Rewane, even Doyin, Dr. Doyin, the advisor.
Yeah,
You know,
Doyin Salami.
none of them expected what happened, and they were not consulted. So the framers of the law, the National Assembly, may have to take a second look at that thing, and where there is ambiguity, make it clear that in the event of so, this is what should happen. You know, this legislation was made in 2007, but clearly abused. You can't say you must give ample time, and on your own you will determine that okay, just 3 months, 4 months is ample time.
When you don't have capacity,
and you don't have the capacity, you don't have the infrastructure
to print enough, and no infrastructure to back electronic banking.
Yes.
In fact, what we might be dealing with is, we might not get this over with in the next 3 months.
No, Ayo, I've said repeatedly that
We might not get this
Indians, when Indians did something like this, they too achieved nothing at the end of the day. In 2016, when the Indians came up with this cash swap because they wanted to catch people involved in black money.
See, I would have.
They suffered for about 2 years.
Did they?
Self-inflicted.
I would have expected the president, Buhari, to try this in 2019 when he was running for second term.
Why will you don't want to
No, he should have tried it to show us that he's actually sincere.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
See, a lot of cottage industries, a lot of small scale industries are dead.
No.
Because there are some things. Okay, you want to
those farmers.
You want they don't as little as you want to gauge your tire. You want to change your tire. You want to do a transfer of 200 naira to change your tire.
Or
those guys,
or those 50 naira.
Yes.
And the SMEs are the real engine of growth.
So you want to go to a barber? I said, somebody came to fix my AC. He was telling me his bill was 15,000. He said, please, sir, give me 5,000 naira cash. Forget about the 10,000. So it's useless. I said,
it was bad.
Talking about and somebody.
Some even want to buy the currency.
And some of these characters.
People are buying naira. They wanted to buy, they won't even see.
Some of these characters supporting this policy were calling us behind to ask for naira.
No, they don't. They were calling us. Some of them were sleeping. I told you that day now. Some will slip into my DM and be begging for money. I mean, something is inherently wrong with you.
I'm talking nonsense.
If you're trying to be politically correct, you support a shitty policy only to behind you two you are suffering. It's better if something is bad, let us condemn it and ask for change. Yes. Yoruba will say, nonsense. That is the thing.
You are blaming the owner for not keeping his property well. Instead of abusing the thief.
You are saying that you too, why were you careless when you put your money?
Bega is calling us from Abuja. Yes, thank you for joining us, Bega.
Good afternoon. Good evening, Jide. Good evening, Ayo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your colleague there.
Thank you.
I appreciate what people are doing. You stood by the suffering Nigeria, and we appreciate you. Also, we need to commend the governors, APC governors that went to court.
Yes.
To show that even though they were accused of fighting their party, the party is divided, the party is falling, they stood by their people that their people should not suffer. And because that's what they elected for. They were elected so that to protect their people.
No, you are right.
We commend them for this. If not for them, we will not get this judgment. They were divided. They are called different names and have money somewhere they are hidden. They did not come out to support to fight against ASU. How would they fight against ASU? ASU is a dispute between employer and employee. What concern with it?
Don't mind the people. All those arguments, those are silly arguments.
Thank you very much for your
Those are silly arguments.
Thank you, Bega.
This money matter affects every Nigerian.
Yeah.
ASU strike did not affect affect every Nigerian.
Nigerian.
There are private universities who do not give a damn. There are public, state universities that do not give a damn about us.
Well, everybody needs
but
Naira.
everybody needs money.
So
when you want to compare things,
no, see,
compare.
Kudos to El-Rufai.
Kudos to Governor Nasir El-Rufai, Governor Yahya Bello, Governor
yes, even
Matawale,
Governor Abiodun Prince
Abiodun,
the governor of Ekiti State.
Yes.
Who said I will jail
anybody who refused to take the Naira? Governor Abiodun Abayomi. And of late, the Lagos State governor, who issued a statement yesterday.
And
the Lagos governor issued a statement that people can pay government agencies in old currency. So these governors, in the true spirit of federalism, resisted an aberration.
And shame to the governors of Edo that went to court
against their own people.
Against their own people.
Against their
shame to all of them.
No, but at the end of the day, did they not serve them breakfast?
Yes,
Now
he's begging that they should not allow them to impeach him. To the assembly.
The assembly to populated
assembly. You have to stand by your people. He and Okowa, they stood against their people and they served them breakfast at the election. How can you watch your people dying, your people suffering? Some of the most bloody riots happen in Edo State. and you are there, you and the Bayelsa governor who are joining federal government.
Against
how are they feeling now?
The people.
How are they feeling now?
So I think we should actually give it to those.
The presidential election has come and gone.
Yeah.
And so the vote buying you want to talk about, so will you talk about it now? I don't understand.
People have made up their minds who to vote for.
The election
some of the people shouting thief. Now we have seen what they did with voting in their different zones. So nobody should come and say and play a saint. We have seen how some parties did in the different zones of the country. So I mean, it's the smartest of all became the president. Yes.
All right.
We'll continue tomorrow.
Definitely.
There are still things that we've not talked about. The impact on the economy, we've not really discussed
it was so devastating.
Devastating.
So more positive and negative reactions continue to trail conduct and the outcome of the presidential election. In another positive review, the presidency has rated the February 25th presidential election won by the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Bola Tinubu, as the best the country has seen in recent times. Presidential spokesperson Garba Shehu said the presidential and National Assembly elections results are clear mandates for the party to retain power for another 4 years. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party insist that the election was rigged in favor of APC. Jude, how was that election rigged in favor of APC?
Well, they are the people who are saying the elections were rigged. We are reading their lips. They are the ones who will be able to explain. As far as I'm concerned, since 1999, I've not seen an election like this. In terms of, there are many parameters that you can use to judge an election, to assess an election. An election does not have to be perfect. Let's get that right.
Do we have America? Was the last election American perfect?
If the American election was perfect, there was no reason why Al Gore should not have defeated George W. Bush in the year 2000. There was no reason in the world. Because the gap he gave him...
The popular votes.
Yes, so in terms of popular vote, was massive.
Yeah. 3 million.
Was massive.
3 million.
So don't come and tell me... And it wasn't... Even the Florida, the recount was not completed.
Same with Clinton and...
you know what? Trump. If we go back to what happened in the U.S., they were manually recounting the Florida votes.
Yeah.
And that recounting would have lasted up to 2 months.
Yeah.
But the American Constitution is a powerful one. Once it got to the day when a winner has to be called, and George Walker Bush was leading by a little over 500 votes. Or is it 500 or 5,000 votes? they had to announce him. They had to announce him. Yes, he would still have picked, he would still have taken Florida. Remember, his brother Jeb was governor of Florida. He would still have taken Florida. But the county had not ended, but they allowed it to go. It remains painful to Al Gore, but he accepted it. No election is perfect. That is why the law says that elections must be conducted in substantial compliance with the Electoral Act or the Electoral Law. Once it is conducted in substantial compliance with the Electoral Act, whatever you say at that point is immaterial. That election will be deemed to be good enough, and the mandate of the people will be respected. In this case, all of the people complaining about this election, who habitually they don't want us to talk, they are complaining that they did not transmit results real time. What is it that they are transmitting? Results generated from polling units,
from ECA,
results generated from the more than 170 something polling units, and then photographed and with the result duly imputed on the form EC8A.
Yeah.
That is the primary source of validity. Once it is signed by the agents, it is that result that will be put on high rev. Now, the bulk of the complaint is that there was no transmission. But can you dismiss an election just because one of the items in the guidelines, not in the Electoral Act, because IREV is not known to the Electoral Act, neither is it known to the Constitution. An item in the guidelines was not complied with. For that reason, you now say you want to dismiss the election, whereas the law says that where an INEC staff fails to comply with the directive in the guidelines, it will not invalidate the election. I hope some of our people can go and read some of these things. That means the guideline is not going to be superior to the Electoral Act, neither will it be superior to the Constitution. So they have to bear that in mind. The Electoral Act permits INEC to decide on the mode of transmission. Section 62 or so of the Electoral Act. So INEC can exercise its discretion. But in this case, what are we even talking about? INEC has now uploaded, as at Sunday, they had uploaded more than 95% of the results from those
76,000 polling units.
Now, if you believe the election has been rigged,
go there and check
what has been uploaded.
Compare with what you
compare it with what you have that is signed by your agent. If you cannot see discrepancies, then it's better you just shut up.
The issue is that the Nigerian Bar Association, as a body, after the election, did a survey on about 5,000 voters all over the country who participated in the election. And what election? And internationally, for surveys and opinion polls, when it achieves 61%, when it crosses the 61% threshold, it is acclaimed fantastic. So, anybody who is aggrieved should go to court. Now, beyond that, we've seen international observers, and this is an election that is showing Nigerians that our votes are now counting. This is an election where we are seeing
20 governors were defeated.
20 governors, 20 governors lost Senate seats.
No, presidential election. 20 governors failed to...
20 governors failed to win.
To deliver their parties.
While some governors lost senatorial bids. It has never happened.
All right. We go for this commercial. When we come back, we'll talk more.
Sister, do you know that winning an election is not only about getting the majority vote? For that your candidate to be declared winner of the election, he or she must secure 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all states plus the FCT to be president, and 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all local governments of a state to be governor. This is constitutional, and every presidential candidate has had to pass this threshold. Even governors have had to make this mark to get elected in their states. We live in one country with different languages, religions, and ethnic groups. This is why it is not enough to have only northern votes, or southern votes, or eastern votes, or western votes. The only way to get elected as president is gaining enough support across the country and states. Let us make sure that we know now so that we don't cause an issue tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO.
Honestly, words cannot express how we feel. Before the bridge, the road from here, Nasarawa to Loko, is about 74 kilometers. This is the link between Nasarawa and Loko. The bridge, which is about 3-5 kilometers across the river Benue, has been on for about 10 years now. Before now, if you live here for Loko, 74 kilometers, and somebody leaves Nasarawa for Kaduna, he will get to Kaduna before you get to Loko. The implication of the completion of this bridge is the cutting of the travel distance by about 3 hours. Our people from Nasarawa can now travel from here to Onitsha and come back. Compared to the ease with which people move has opened the area, and many people are coming around now to invest in agriculture. Where to score this government on this achievement, we will score them extremely high because it has changed the dynamics of the social and economic activities of our people.
Yes, welcome back. This is journalist Hangout. Mujid, so at the end of the day, when we look at the conduct of that election and the international community and, parties want to go to court, and this is advisable, I said it yesterday, within 8 months from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court, it will be dispensed with.
The Hausas, they have a saying. I know Jide will speak it better. It's Sere ya dere, mesusu menamane. To ba dowo dere, gbogbo eran, including Ologbo, Jijeni. See, all these major parties, the 4 major parties, they all have what they call situation room that they set up. So they have party agents in all the polling units.
PDP had more agents than APC.
Yes, PDP had more agents than APC. So now, on Sunday afternoon, somebody from PDP called a friend of mine and said, what is happening in your camp? I said, don't you have your own situation room? You guys, are you not getting reports from your own situation room? Now, the Labour Party is the funniest one. I saw that report on, somebody told me, but I thought he was joking.
No, it was all over Twitter and Punch.
Punch did a report on it. From their own situation room, they were uploading when it got to about 80%.
They began their own independent collation
from their own polling agents.
After the election.
Yes, now. So when they saw that from they were doing this Twitter Hangout where they were calling people to upload the reports, results from ECA 8 from all the polling units after the election. So the reports they were getting, it got to a point, they saw that at about 80%, it was an unassailable lead by Ashwaju. So the guy shut down the platform. They now went for him. As usually, they were abusing him.
You can abuse anybody.
That he has collected money. He said, how can I collect money? This was the reports that you guys gave me.
Okay, the people who didn't collect money should do their own.
The ones who didn't collect money should do their own. And INEC is saying, go and verify.
Verify now. They've uploaded more than 97%.
INEC is on about 97% now on the IRF. So, this after the election, let somebody come out and say it. You can check.
That's why they
go
uploaded.
On INEC, you click on presidential election, you click on the state, you click on the local government, you will see your polling unit. Click on your polling unit, the result of your polling unit will come out. So challenge INEC.
If it's against what you have,
from what you have,
let us know.
So what are people talking about? Now Obi in interview yesterday on the TV station.
On the TV station.
Quote and unquote. I mean, Wike knows that TV station. I'm not going to mention the TV station here. So he said he is not challenging the outcome of the election, but the process. Which process are we talking about here?
He's probably aware
he has seen
that
the results.
he lost, hands down.
Now, Atiku, they were supposed to do that rally together. The one Wike called
black dress wearing.
Black dress wearing Aluta. Said this is not student union. Said the people should. I mean, this is not student union. Said while they were doing that rally, it was busy consuming a 40-year-old whiskey. So they were supposed to do it together, but I learned the PDP told Labour that don't come and say you are number one here.
I came second.
That you came second. So now Oshiomhole told them, go and settle among yourselves who is second before you now decide who will challenge the winner.
Just like in primary elections, when they will say, okay, go and do consensus among yourselves and produce
one person.
One person. So they should do a consensus among themselves and produce
who will challenge the winner.
It's even strange to me that somebody will come third in an election and
still be claiming that he won.
Is all.
I'm looking at the spread.
Yes, there is no route. Both of them didn't get 25% in 24 states. Neither of them got it. It was Asiwaju that got 25% in 24 states. So they don't even have any route to the presidency. If you give Obi 10 million more now, add to his vote, he will still not be qualified to be president. I've heard people say, 14 million people didn't vote for Asiwaju. But what is democracy? It is the man that scores the highest vote. Yes, if you are saying 14 million didn't vote for him, that means 22 million didn't vote for his opponent too. And that's the way it is. Some funny arguments.
Before you lay a claim to presidency, you must have a pathway. The pathway is, yes, you must have the highest number, which is the popular votes. You must have it. Then you must have the spread. So now I was surprised when Dati Ahmed, the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, went on his Twitter handle and says that they are the only one who won.
Okay. It's the most ridiculous argument.
I have never seen that kind of
argument. It means that even if you win the 36 states and you don't have Abuja, you cannot be president. People should reason now.
Shino, Adedeji is calling us.
Hello?
Yes, hello? Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, this is Dr. Adeshina Adedeji.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, the situation we find ourselves in this country. Despite the fact that we've seen how developing countries are still lacking behind leveraging technology for elections. Looking at this 2023 presidential election, if you look at it, there is a balance. Statistically, it's a different thing. Assuming the result is skewed in favor of a particular candidate. Let me narrow it down to APC, losing Lagos State, losing Katsina, losing Kaduna, Kano, and Labour now saying the election is rigged. If looking at it geospatially, I'm a geospatial expert with a background in geographic information system. I have a PhD from the University of Leicester. If we combine what has happened with the 2023 presidential election, you can see that, to me, we can say the election is free, is fair, and is credible. You can't have a perfect system. There is always room for improvement.
Yeah.
There is no perfect system anywhere in the world.
Thank you, Shino. Thank you. Thank you. That your candidate did not win, that does not mean the election isn't.
No, the attitude of our people is, it is only where I won that the election was credible. You know? And I've said something, because the bulk of the noise is about Lagos, what happened in Lagos, and Rivers. If you take the whole of the votes of the Southwest away, you take the votes that Asiwaju scored in Rivers away, he will still be the winner of the election because he will still score over 7 million. None of the people contested against him scored up to 7 million. No, this is statistically the truth.
In the whole of the Southeast, Asiwaju Tinubu of the APC scored 172,000 votes.
In the
whole of the Southeast, 172,000 votes. So if they take that one up, it doesn't obliterate his victory. What are we talking about?
Thank you. Won the election. For your contribution. And that's our package today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast at 11 p.m. tonight, and join us this Sunday for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayo.